talking about this Robinson's annihilation, which is undergoing the conjugate addition to this system. So first step is the keto-enol tautomerism. This form, enol form is more stable due to little resonance energy, and it base picks up this proton from here, generating an enolate. This enolate donates oxygen donate electron pair back here to generate carbon oxygen double bond, just similar to this. And this electron density, which is present on carbon, it transfers in conjugate way rather in direct way. So it transfers here and donates conjugate addition takes place, resulting in the formation of, you can see, this carbon is making a new carbon bond with this entity. And what we are having, this is in fact this carbon. We are having these two carbons are presented in here. This is a new bond formed here. And this methyl, it shall be above the plane and behind the plane, both equally. Now what happens next? We are having another enolate form I have presented. In fact, it is carbon oxygen double bond, CH2R, which is this one. But I have presented the enol form of this keto as well. Why? Because if it is present in this form, now look at here, this enol, it can make an enol here as well. Just see, enol is possible here, but if this carbon position at this position shall be 1, 2, 3, 4-membered ring. 4-membered ring is not a stable ring system. But compared to that, if we are, this carbon is making a bond with this carbon, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-membered ring is going to form. So this is the reason why it is not going to exist in this form. This enolate shall be more stable, and it is generating, this hydrogen is transferring, donating H positive ion and in the presence of a base. So it shall make carbon oxygen double bond. This electronic density shall add to this carbonyl carbon, resulting in the formation of another ring. Now you see, this carbon is a donor carbon, this is acceptor carbon. But here this is a donor carbon, this is acceptor. What is happening? We are getting this structure number 6. Just focus here. This structure presented in blue, this is coming from structure number 1, all right, which is our donor species. And this structure which is presented in green, this is in fact this molecule. You see, first this carbon act as a donor species, which is this one. This carbon is a donor species, and this carbon, beta carbon, which is in fact this carbon, is an acceptor. So this bond is formed as a donor acceptor bonding. On the other hand, now this carbon is donor, now this carbon is acceptor. All right. So you see, this carbon is acceptor and this carbon is donor. So this bond is formed because of this donor acceptor species. All right. So we get this OH present here because if you remember, base picked up proton here as well as here. So two H positive ions has been generated, which are being picked up by the base. That base loses H positive ion, which protonate this OH. So this OH became good leaving group, and it leaves, takes OH from here, OH2. So this leave with electron pair, and a hydrogen from this molecule leaves without electron pair, generating a double bond at this position like this. Now you can argue why a hydrogen from here is not lost. It can also be lost. So a double bond here can also be formed, but this is a alpha beta unsaturated double bond which is next to carbonyl. So it has a little resonance energy. You see, it has a little resonance energy because two double bonds are in conjugation. If a double bond is formed here, they shall not be in conjugation with each other. So these two in conjugation have a little resonance energy. That's why a proton from here is been lost, although it is hysterically more crowded. But this is because conditions are thermal, heating. You have already come across, upon heating, thermodynamic condition dominates. So in thermodynamic condition, the stability of isomer is most important. This isomer is more stable. then a double bond at this position. So this structure is formed as a consequence of a donor acceptor and donor acceptor species twice. So what it results? It results in the formation of this entity, which is commonly called Weiland-Miescher's ketone. Both Weiland and Miescher, Robinson basically presented a general protocol, but Weiland-Miescher ketone, this type of structure, you see, we start with one ring, and within one step we can synthesize this, just starting with just to leave this bond here. So we are having CH3 CH2 carbonyl, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 5 dicarbonyl system. Here we are having a ester group present here. Then in a single step, in the presence of a base, sodium ethoxide, it shall cyclize into this entity. And you can also synthesize this entity alpha beta unsaturated enones by following Claisen-Schmidt condensation, in fact. So this is a result of Claisen condensation, not diesters we are using, but we are using a one ketone, one ester. This is the modification in Claisen condensation. So this is a Claisen condensation product. In fact, this is a Claisen-Schmidt condensation product. So we can get these two conjugated with each other, resulting in the formation of two rings. No doubt this ring was already available, and this ring is formed. Because a new ring is formed here, this is called annulation. And because this was first synthesized by Weiland and Miescher, Weiland carried out this synthesis in basic medium, and Miescher carried out this in acidic conditions. This is a major difference between them. If it is carried out in the presence of base or in the presence of acid, both are resulting in the formation of this product. All right. That's why this is collectively called Weiland-Miescher ketone. Why ketone? Because it contains two ketone functional groups in fact. So this is a Robinson's annulation, which is being normally used. And this molecule, let's see if we don't have a double bond present at this position. So this molecule exists in, if we reduce this with hydrogenation of palladium charcoal. Why this nucleus is very important? This nucleus is used for the synthesis of steroids and many other natural products, terpenoids and so many others. Vitamin D is also synthesized from this precursor. So due to its very wide application in organic synthesis, this is a precursor of so many natural products. Due to this, it has a very high importance in synthetic chemistry. So first what we do, we reduce this carbon-carbon double bond by hydrogenation over palladium charcoal. Once we reduce this, we shall have a hydrogen here, hydrogen there, right? So this structure I have presented in this one. All right, this structure number 6 I have highlighted here. Just look at here, this OH and this H. These must be totally opposite from each other when they are leaving. You see, this OH2, which is oxygen, is positively charged. So, and this hydrogen from here, I have already presented. A hydrogen from here can also be lost. This is it can also be lost, but it shall result a double bond here, which shall not be in conjugation with this carbonyl carbon. That's why this preferentially this hydrogen shall be lost. If this hydrogen is lost, this group leaves with electron pair, this group leaves without electron pair, generating a double bond at this position, resulting in the formation of this. This is the mechanism I have presented, that this is a fused ring system. Two rings chair conformation are fused. A methyl is here, normally axial position, and this is the carbonyl carbon which is present at this position. And this is the OH which is present at this, which is protonated, and this is the R group which is present at equatorial. Hydrogen is at axial position. This carbonyl is presented at this position. So this is the structure number 6, which undergo elimination to form structure number 2 in fact. This is called Robinson's annulation. Now let's see another type of condensation is called Knob-Engel's condensation. What is Knob-Engel's condensation? We have a active methylene CH2 attached with two electron withdrawing group. EWG stands for electron withdrawing groups. This may be electron withdrawing by resonance. This may be electron withdrawing by inductive effect. So normally we are having minus R groups. So if they are carbonyl carbons, they have enol generation here. So this carbon shall add up till here. In the presence of base, it is generating this double bond, because when it is going to add, it shall generate OH, this OH from here and a hydrogen from here shall leave, generating a double bond at this position. This is called, in fact, olefination. This is, you see, an olefin is being generated. And what olefin? Because this electron withdrawing group is normally carbonyl systems. So carbonyl next to the alpha, beta, and saturated system. This is, you have already come across. Just similar outcome you have seen in Claisen-Schmidt condensation. But variation is we are not using here some esters, we are using some other carbonyl system. Let's see if we have, this is commonly, structure number one is commonly called malonic acid, if you remember. This malonic acid, 1,3-dicarbonyl acids or 1,3-dioic acid. So this is, in fact, we are having, it is in resonance, in equilibrium with this enol form. I have presented enol, either this enol we present here or we present enol here, both shall be identical, right? So in the presence of a base, let's say this is pyridine, pyridine picks up this proton from here and this hydrogen is being lost, negative charge on this oxygen, which is in resonance with negative charge at this position. All right, anyhow, this oxygen donates electron pair back here, and this pi electronic density transfers to this one. Now look at here, this is very interesting to notice in such type of reaction. It should follow a conjugate addition, but it is not following conjugate addition, it follows a direct addition. If it follow a conjugate addition, this is very similar to Robinson's annulation. There is no difference at all. But this is very interesting. It is not clear why in such a case, in such type of generation of the product, why it undergo direct addition. Rather, it is a carbon nucleophile. It should follow a conjugate addition, but it doesn't follow a conjugate addition. In fact, it always follow a direct addition, which results in the formation of this entity. This entity is coming from this system, and this structure number 3 is presented in blue color. You see this carbon, which is tetrahedral carbon, methylene CH2. This has one hydrogen has been replaced, substituted by an electrophile. This is the electrophile. All right. So this is a new carbon-carbon bond formed in such a case. What happens next? This base, this OH leaves with electron pair from here, and one hydrogen from here leaves. A base pick up this proton from, because do not forget, it is again present in the form of enol. If I present the enol form of this, we shall have a double bond here, OH. Base picks up a proton from OH. Hydrogen donates this electron pair, again generating double bond here. And this bond of the hydrogen basically is transferring to generate a double bond here. Because double bond is here, that double bond shall transfer here, and this OH shall leave. So this is how OH leaves, and this double bond approach here, generating a double bond at this position. We can isolate this product, but if we are heating this at high temperature, then one carbon attached with two carboxylic groups, carbonyl system, always lose one of them. So it shall lose one of them. So hydrogen shall donate this electron pair density. It shall transfer electron density on this carbon, which shall pick up this proton and generating this system. Now this R may be this side, this R may be this side. So it shall have two isomers. In fact, so it may be E isomer as well as Z isomer. Two isomers are possible in this case, in fact. So this is called Knoevenagels condensation. You see, in all such condensation, we are replacing our substrate with a different functional group, reacting with an aldehyde, reacting with a ketone, reacting with an acyl halide, or reacting with a alpha beta unsaturated systems. So these are the normal, if I summarize all of them, these are the outcomes. So this is Knoevenagels condensation, commonly called. The last in, if we go to the Manish reaction, but before we go to that, let's say if we are carrying out aldol reaction, you are already familiar with aldol reaction. Aldol reaction is also a kind of this active methylene. Now let's say if we have this structure number one, it is present in the equilibrium likewise. So we are having this keto form exists in enol form. This enol form is presented here. When it is reacted with the base, base picks up this proton from here, generate an enolate. If let's see this enolate is reacted with another aldehyde, this is another aldehyde. So this aldehyde adds to this system, which is this one. So this oxygen donate electron pair back and this electron density transfer here. So this hydrogen replaced by a aldehyde group. This is formaldehyde I have used. So this is a formaldehyde. We are getting a carbon bonded with this carbon. So we get OH. This reaction repeats again because there is still a hydrogen present here. Base shall pick up this because it shall again generate an enol. That enol, we are having a double bond here, very similar to this. All right. So enol shall be also present here, and then same reaction shall again repeat it at this position, resulting to hydroxymethyl group present at this position. Now, if let's say this R is also hydrogen, again it can generate an enol form. Again another reaction is possible, so it shall add again to result in the formation of another hydroxyl methyl group here. So if this R is hydrogen, this structure number 6 shall be formed if R is hydrogen. If this is not hydrogen, then it shall stop here. All right. And then what happens next? This is the Canizaro's dianiline. What does it mean? This is Canizaro's dianiline. So Canizaro's dianiline is in fact formed. How this is in fact formed as a consequence. Now look at here. If this hydroxyl, rather adding to this one, reacting with enol form, no doubt, formaldehyde is also present in the reaction mixture. If we do not control the addition of this, if both of these structure number one and structure this formaldehyde, we mixed with each other in the presence of a base, then this reaction is possible. But if we add this group slowly, if we add this formaldehyde slow addition we are carrying out, then it shall result totally different entity. All right. So this side product shall not be formed. So anyhow, I'm just going to present that this oxygen, because it cannot undergo ionization. It cannot undergo keto-enol tautomerism because it doesn't contain any other carbon. It contains only one carbon, which is double bonded with oxygen. It has both side hydrogen. So it cannot enolate. It cannot be converted. It shall exist in 100% keto form because enol is not possible. So what shall happen? One hydroxyl ion shall add to this. So when it is adding here, so we shall get two hydrogens at this place, O negative, and this OH shall be added. Then a base shall pick up a hydrogen from OH, resulting a O negative here. So this is the Canizaro's dianiline. This dianiline, in fact, this oxygen donates electron pair transferring here, and this hydride transfer. This hydrogen with electron pair transfers here, and it reduces this one as well. And you see, this is what is this structure. Look at this one carbon bonded with four hydroxymethyl groups. We have started with structure number one. These three hydroxymethyl are coming from, these three are coming from formaldehyde. Why? Because this methylene is very active. If this R is hydrogen, this is simply acetaldehyde. So this is very active. That's why it forms this type of product, rather a condensation product, rather aldol reaction. So this type of miscellaneous, this is dominating product, but actual aldol product is recessive. So that's why this is the drawback in aldol reaction, because this keto-enol tautomerism is very active. We need just once. We need to stop the reaction at this place, but we are unable to stop here because it still have a active methylene. It have one hydrogen, so it shall again tautomerize into this one. And similarly, this R is also hydrogen. Still two hydrogens are there which can be replaced, generating this one. And similarly, this A9 can also react and generating this very interesting structure. So these are the drawback in aldol reactions. Now, how we can overcome this? Manish was the first scientist who managed this. How he managed this? So according to him, if we react the formaldehyde in the presence of acidic medium with a secondary amine. Now, which secondary amine we are using? We are using a cyclic secondary amine. You see, this is a cyclic secondary amine, nitrogen, present in six-membered ring. So this nitrogen, if this OH group is present, it has been protonated. So when it is protonated, OH, oxygen shall be positively charged. This electron pair shall transfer on oxygen, making this carbon electron deficient. So this nitrogen non-bonding electron pair shall be transferred to this carbon, generating a nitrogen carbon bond. Right? This is a nitrogen carbon bond, and we get a OH here. All right. Now this is an adduct. What happens next? This OH, because this nitrogen is positively charged, what shall happen? It shall lose H positive ion. It shall be protonating this OH. If one this is been protonating, it shall leave with the electron pair, and non-bonding electron pair on nitrogen shall be transferred here, resulting what? Resulting in the formation of nitrogen carbon double bond. And this carbon is which carbon? This carbon is the carbon of this formaldehyde. Now we have generate a different derivative. Rather, we have a carbon oxygen double bond. Now we have a carbon nitrogen double bond. So now it cannot automerize. This is an interesting feature. Now, if we are reacting, let's say I have presented here one of the sequence. Structure number 4, we have, this is commonly called as acetophenone. So this acetophenone exists in enol form. This is the enol form I have highlighted. This hydrogen leave without electron pair, generating a positive oxygen carbon double bond, and this electron shall be adding here. Why? What is the driving force? Positive charge is on nitrogen. It shall pick up this electron pair here to stabilize positive charge. This carbon shall be electron deficient. This carbon shall donate electron density to this, and this carbon shall be electron deficient. So this hydrogen leaves to generate carbon oxygen double bond. So we are getting this carbon bonded with this carbon. This carbon is coming from formaldehyde, and now this carbon is bonded with nitrogen. All right. Now what happens? Now how we can remove this group, because we don't want this here. We have done successfully the aldol reaction. This is the donor, this is acceptor, this is the aldol reaction. So we don't need this group anymore. We want to remove this. If we protonate this, it shall remove with the nitrogen shall leave with the electron pair, and hydrogen shall leave without electron pair. But protonation normally causes some other drawbacks. So what we do is, look at this amine was secondary amine. Now it is converted into tertiary amine. If tertiary amines are reacted with iodomethane, this nitrogen has a non-bonding electron pair. It shall kick out this iodide, making a bond with methyl. So when it is making a bond with methyl, it shall be quaternary salt. Nitrogen making 4 bonds, so there shall be positive charge on the nitrogen. Once there is a positive charge on the nitrogen, it is a very, very good living group. So it shall take this. So we are not protonating the nitrogen. We are methylating this in fact. So this nitrogen shall take this electron pair off, and this hydrogen from here shall leave without. This is elimination reaction, which is our next topic. So it shall generate a double bond at this position. You can see this double bond is being generated. Now this carbon which is I have presented in green is coming from formaldehyde. Now it is not making such reaction repeatedly. You see, one aldol reaction, second aldol reaction, third aldol reaction, fourth aldol reactions are being done. So to avoid this, this is a very unique procedure with the Manish. This is read as Manish. Manish is the name of the scientist who first of all used these protocols, use secondary amine reacting with a reactive Cannizzaro type aldehyde, and then it was reacted with a donor species. All right. So enolizable hydro carbonyl system. So then purpose is to remove this entity again. So we methylate this and we get alpha, beta, and Z. This is the aldol product that we normally get. So, and here only one aldol reaction is done. You see, there is also possibility. There are two other CH2 groups present. They can also react, but they are not going to react each other. Right? So this is a protocol because you see this CH2 can further react with another one, but it shall be sterically very, very crowded if another such group is approaching here. This is the reason it doesn't react with them. So this is cleverly manage this reaction, aldol reaction from side products. So this is a managed reaction. We are doing aldol reaction, but in the presence of we are doing this in the presence of secondary amine. So this is a managed reaction or managed condensation in fact. The last in this topic is the Wittig reaction. What is that Wittig reaction? To understand a Wittig reaction, you have to understand one terminology we use is commonly called Yallet. What is the Yallet? Yallet is an entity in which we are having two opposite charges on adjacent atoms. Now you can see we are having phosphorus positively charged and carbon negatively charged. And this is a very interesting that we are having a positive charge on high electronegative and negative charge on low electronegative atom. This is in fact totally different. So this is commonly called phosphorus carrying positive charge, which is more electronegative. Carbon, which is less electronegative, carries a negative charge. So if you are having two opposite charges, mean one positive, one negative, on adjacent atoms. Second condition is carbon bearing negative charge and hetero atom which is more electronegative than carbon bearing a positive charge is commonly called a Yallet. I have just presented here two kinds of Yallet. One is phosphorus Yallet, other is sulfur Yallet. Now how these are being synthesized? Let's see. We start with triphenyl phosphine, mean phosphorus bonded with 3-phenyl. Phosphorus is trivalent because it is present in nitrogen family. Nitrogen is trivalent. So phosphorus is also trivalent. It is making 3 bonds with phenyl. So this is called triphenyl phosphine. This triphenyl phosphine when reacts with ethyl bromide, this bromine, because this phosphorus contain non-bonding electron pair. So if we are moving down the group, you have seen this, Now, is this slide number 15 visible?
Yes, sir.
Or if there was a disconnection, I don't know why this happened. So anyhow, we are just going through this YALET. So this is the YALET. The YALET is in fact here undergoing this type of triphenylphosphine reacting with ethyl bromide. This phosphorus is more nucleophilic. Why? Because nitrogen, you see, acting as a base, that is a good base but not a good nucleophile. But if you are moving down the group, electronegativity is decreasing. So charge polarization is increasing or charge density is increasing. So nucleophilicity character decreases down the group. So phosphorus is a better nucleophile rather nitrogen. Nitrogen is a good base, but phosphorus is a good nucleophile. So phosphorus replaces this bromine. Simple SN2 reaction takes place, making phosphorus making a bond with this carbon. Next, what we do, phosphorus with positive charge, because when phosphorus donating electronic density to this carbon, it generates a positive charge. We react this with a strong base. The strong base, because this carbon, which is bonded with phosphorus, highly positively charged, it withdraw electronic density to very high extent. This hydrogen is very acidic. So what happened? That this system, in fact, leaves this group from here. Base pick up this proton here, generating a negative charge at this carbon. This entity is commonly called phosphonium ion, and this is called phosphonium yalate. This is a very special class of the organic molecules in which we are having a positive charge on a high electronegative atom, negative charge on low electronegative atom, which are adjacent to each other. This is commonly called yalate because here heteroatom is phosphorus. That's why this is called phosphonium yalate. Yalate is a broad terminology, right? There may be different kind of carbon bearing negative and phosphorus or any other atom bearing positive charge. It may be sulfur, it may be arsenic, it may be so many others. Because if this is phosphorus, this is why it is called phosphonium yalate. And we can draw another resonance form of this in which this carbon can donate electron pair here generating a carbon phosphorus double bond. So this is a very special. This carbon is donating electronic density to this phosphorus in d orbital. Do not forget, nitrogen doesn't make 5 bonds, but phosphorus can make. Nitrogen contains valence electron in second shell. So second shell contain only S and P subshells, whereas phosphorus has valence electron 5 electron in the valence shell, but it is in third period. So it has 3d involved, although this is empty, but this carbon can transfer this electron density here, generating a phosphorus carbon double bond. Now look at this. This phosphorus is pentavalent. 5 is the valency of phosphorus. Phosphorus can afford 5 valence, but carbon nitrogen cannot afford 5 valence due to not involvement of D. So it is forming a p pi d pi bonding in fact here. Now look at here. This is very simple, just like an ether. Rather oxygen, we are having a sulfur. Oxygen and sulfur belongs to same group. Oxygen is more electronegative, sulfur is less. All right. So the same reaction you have seen here, we have performed here. We have replaced this bromide by sulfur. Sulfur is a good nucleophile, rather oxygen, generating this entity. Sulfur bearing making 3 bonds, bearing positive charge. Now sulfur is more electronegative than phosphorus. So it is making this hydrogen next where sulfur is attached to the carbon. This hydrogen is 2 electron deficient. So a base can easily pick up this proton from here, generating a negative charge on this carbon. So we are having again Gallet, high electronegative atom bearing positive charge and low electronegative atom bearing negative charge. So this is also a yalate, but this is called sulfonium yalate. This yalate is entirely different yalate, in fact. So this yalate, sulfonium yalate and phosphonium gallate. These are the two gallates which are different from each other. So I have just presented just to, because you cannot understand